Hello, welcome to day 4 of happiness, for day 4 of day 30. And today I want to go back to the basics because honestly, experiencing happiness 24/7 is more complicated than you would think. I mean, you would wish it was easy. I wish it was easy as just like pushing a button and boom, right? But really being able to experience happiness more and more in life takes mastery of the mind, and it also takes balance. So coming back to the fundamentals, we've been getting into the more complicated things of how to shift your perspective in order to experience positive versus negative. But one of the things you want to definitely have as a foundation is your physical body. And by that I mean your diet, exercise, and hydration, water. Those three main ingredients are very important because I've noticed over the years in practicing, even with a pretty advanced ability to quiet my mind and to shift my perspective, I still, if I skip if I skip a meal or two, I feel a big difference, and it's much more challenging. Or if have only 4 or 5 hours of sleep versus a good 8 or 9 hours of sleep for me, I'm more irritable. And I think this points to the fact that while part of the balance to happiness is the mental, there's also the physical that you have to take care of. You have to take care of your body. So making sure you're getting nice, long, solid rest. With sleeping, I've also heard multiple times that it's not just getting a lot of sleep, it's also having a regular schedule. So going to bed and waking up at the same time every day helps tremendously in feeling rejuvenated and making sure that you get into deep REM sleep, which really re-energizes the body and mind. So sleep, diet, be very mindful of what you put into your body. I mean, at the end of the day, all this junk food and pleasure food that's based on taste and not on quality or on nutrition will have an effect on you mentally. And the more you pay attention to what you eat, the more you'll start to see that there's a certain sensitivity and a certain correlation between what you're consuming and how it is affecting you mentally. So make sure, if not necessarily even asking you to change anything about how you're eating, but pay more attention to how you're eating. Give it more validity, and try out experiments. When you're really paying attention, then you can start to zero in on how certain foods affect your body, right? And you can figure out which ones are better for you and which ones are not so good. Here's Bella. What's up, Bella? She agrees. Eating is important. Eating healthy is important. But just being mindful of what you're eating 24/7. That includes snacks. That includes if you're a partier and you like to drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes or whatever. All of those things have consequences on the body, and so also have consequences on the mind. And when you're trying to shift your perspective and live in more happiness and more feeling of being content and peaceful, you also have to take responsibility for what you're doing physically with your body. So sleep, eating. Third thing is hydration. It's a simple one, but it's one that we tend to overlook because there's so many delicious drinks out there these days. I'm a huge coffee drinker. I'm not identified as a coffee drinker, but I love coffee. And but there's so many drinks out there that we kind of steer away from water, right? You go to a restaurant and it's like, what do you want to drink? And there's so many options, but try to drink water as much as you can. You definitely want to hydrate yourself, and not just for your longevity of the body, but it actually can affect you mentally. Teas can be really good for calming down. Actually, there are a lot of different teas there's stress relief sort of teas. So that's another way if you're feeling a little anxious. Instead of drinking a soda or something that has caffeine, drink something that's calming like a tea. So yeah, that's the basics, and in a way, they seem very simple, very manageable, because we live in such a materialistic world that balancing the material side first is definitely helpful, but it's not as easy as it sounds. Especially if you like going out to eat, or just falling into habits. So you just really want to pay attention to your habits. Catch yourself, catch what you're snacking on, catch every single thing that you're eating and drinking, and paying attention to your sleep patterns. There's apps that can actually analyze your sleep patterns and kind of help you figure out really if you are sleeping regularly, well, or if your pattern is erratic. But yeah, so, and the thing is like if you're trying to work on finding gratitude and shifting your perspective and doing things in the more spiritual sense of how to find happiness, but you don't have your foundation of treating the physical body healthy, then it might be really confusing because you're like, I don't get this, I'm doing everything he says, or I'm doing everything these teachers are saying, yet I don't feel more peaceful, I don't feel more happy. And at the same time, you're running on like 4 hours of sleep. And it's like, well, you gotta slow down, reset, get your body straight, Oh, and I forgot to mention exercise. Exercise is also good. It doesn't mean you have to go run a marathon or anything, but just being physically active definitely stimulates the brain, and it releases all kinds of good chemicals in your brain that makes you feel better. If you find it hard to get yourself to exercise, that like getting yourself to the gym, even though when you leave the gym you feel great, but getting there is the hard part, then you don't have to do the stereotypical workouts, right? You can make them fun. I used to just carry a big rock around the neighborhood. I was be creative. If you're exercising in the same way all the time and you don't find yourself going back, maybe it's because you just don't feel inspired. So find creative ways to exercise, because these 4 ingredients are really important for feeling happy and satisfied in life and balanced. So yes, back to the basics. See you guys tomorrow for day 5. Much love.